The update is that I hate it.
So I'm going to be redoing this dress. All right, I skipped some steps here because I'm redoing the bodice of a dress that I already made. Back pieces, they have a slit, straps. This is a double-sided cotton gauze fabric, which means there's a different pattern on each side. Cotton gauze is just the fiber and weave. I made 8 straps because I'm gonna have 2 in the front, 2 in the back, on the inside and the outside. So the dress is gonna be fully reversible. And we're gonna place these straps in pleats in the bodice. So let's do that. I'm gonna be placing the pleat 5.5 inches inwards and 4 inches upwards. So I'll mark right here. This gridding pattern really helps for this project. There's my mark, and it's gonna be a 1-inch pleat that I'm gonna fold inwards. So I measured a 1 inch, that's about to the outside of this brown square. And then I'm gonna fold that to where my mark was, which is about this blue row. I'm gonna fold that under, like that. Make sure it's 1 inch, and I'm gonna do that at the top, and then I'll show you. Now I have my pleat folded. I'm gonna iron it, and then I found where my mark was from earlier, 4 inches up, and I sandwiched my strap in there, and then I'm gonna sew down on this edge and on this edge because the pleat is folded like that, right? Little zigzag. It has 2 edges like a Z fold. This is the right side of my fabric. This is the other right side of my fabric since it's gonna be reversible and double-sided. So I'm gonna do the same thing with both sides of the back bodice, both sides of the front bodice. Got all my straps, then we iron, then we sew down. I guess this is more of a tuck than a pleat because I'm sewing both sides, but I did the front and now I'm going and doing the underside so it's nice and secure, and we have our little tie straps so we can adjust the fit of the bodice. So for our front bodice pieces, we're gonna do right sides together, which in this case is the side that has the strap sewn on the outside. And then I'm just gonna join the necklines together, sewing. And I'm also gonna trim where I did the little tucks / pleats just to make these shoulder seams straight again. The back panels are gonna be a little bit different because I'm adding ties at the top so we can sew this closed. And this is split open, unlike the front, so that it's easier to get in and out. So what I'm doing here is right sides together, and then I'm sandwiching the straps right at the top where I want it to be. We're gonna sew along the neckline, we're gonna sew around the little keyhole, and this way. Turned it inside out, pressed it. I'm also gonna do a top stitch, and the inside of the seam actually is zigzag stitched or like faux serged, that's the word, so that this fabric doesn't fray because it frays a lot. Here's the little keyhole tie detail on the back. We'll also top stitch this. Now, since I want this to be a reversible garment, I'm gonna do flat felled seams for the shoulders. So there's the front bodice piece, here's the back. I'm gonna sew across like a 2 centimeter seam allowance, trim, and then fold it over itself. I'll show you that. I should mention I sewed these pieces right sides together. I'm going to trim the side that is closest to the back seam because I'm going to then double fold this seam towards the back and press. Okay, seam is trimmed down, top seam. Pressing it forward, this is a flat felled, so you press it forward and then fold it in half under itself so that it has a nice finished edge on both sides. So we're gonna do that, sew it up, and the shoulders will be bodice, ties. I do have sleeves. I'm liking it without the sleeves, but I'll sew them on flat felled just like we did the shoulders and everything and see how that looks. Since we're also gonna flat fell the sleeves and I don't actually wanna trim them, we're just gonna offset them. So the sleeve, ignore that I cut this weird, is this way, right sides together with my fabric. And what I'm gonna do, this is the center, I'm gonna pin it so that there's like that much fabric left, like 5/8 of an inch. I'm gonna pin the whole seam and sew it that way, and then we'll do the same folding we did for the shoulders without trimming since we're offsetting. Now we've got the sleeve sewed on in the armholes. We're gonna go down the sleeve, down the side, flat felled seam that. We'll actually trim it this time instead of doing the offset, and then I'll pop it inside the skirt and we'll do a flat felled seam to join the skirt. I already have this made. This is just, I think, like a half circle skirt, 3/4 circle skirt, because I'm redoing this. This was a dress that I made that I didn't like, so I'll show the combining of these pieces as well. For the flat felled on this side seam, I have it pinned up. I'm gonna sew starting from the bottom and then just squelch the sleeve as much as I can like this to get to the end, because otherwise I probably will have to hand sew this. So you can kind of see, in order to sew the sleeve part, I have to like turn it inside out slowly as I'm sewing so that I'm just getting this outer edge of the flat felled seam. It's difficult, but if you do it slowly, it's possible, and the sleeves are pretty loose. Bodice is fully sewn now. I'm gonna put it inside the skirt, offset it, sew around, and then we'll join it with a flat felled seam. I usually would not do this in this order, but I already had the skirt made, so now I'm gonna pin it all the way around, and we're gonna sew with an offset. All right, this is how we had it sandwiched with the skirt. Well, I switched it and I put the skirt in the bodice instead. Shake, shake, shake. Dress! It's like magic. And then I'll do the flat felled seam, or just leave a weird ruffle, probably not, and then we're done. The dress is fully reversible. You can turn it inside out, you can wear it forwards or backwards. The sleeves turned out a little funny because the flat felled seam is kind of bulky, but overall it's very cute and I'll wear it much more than the original dress.